Welcome to the Dan Stevens Show. You might be wondering, if you're listening, I do have a guest with me, kind of. I couldn't find a guest for this episode. I'm trying to get guests. I'm trying to line them up. If you're watching, you already know what's going on. I have BuD here with me. Blow up doll. He's an Irish blow up doll, red hair on his chest. When I told my mother that I got a blow up doll, actually, she said, "Does it have a willy?" Doesn't. So don't worry about that. And I'm not using them for any explicit purposes. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So yeah, I have. He can't say anything, obviously. So it's not gonna affect. Don't turn the episode off now, please. Because he's not able to speak. I mean, technically he is a guest, so it'll keep us going for a while, and it's good to have him here. Actually, maybe this is some kind of experiment for a 37-year-old man like myself that doesn't see many people from day to day. But his legs are a bit over here. But welcome, BuD. Anyway, I don't know if blow up doll is the correct terminology anymore these days. Maybe inflatable person. Is that better, BuD? Ip. Is that good for you? Ip. Anyway, I do have a couple of topics on the agenda for today. There's one more story from something that happened in Brighton in the UK. Although it could have happened anywhere, to anyone, at any time. But of course it happened to me. And then I want to talk about basically when you're nearly 40 and your friends are trying to set you up, and how demeaning that is. And what it basically suggests to me. What kind of things that it signals. So let's get into it anyway. So this is a very embarrassing story. To be honest, it's up there with the most embarrassing things that have happened to me. Usually embarrassing stories for me, if you go back through the back catalogue there of stories on this podcast, from the early days of The Truth Is In There all the way through the Dan Stevens Show, a lot of personal stories for me hinge on embarrassment and disappointment, because I do find those emotions to be the most funny, particularly when no one gets harmed except ego. You know, except if your pride or your ego gets hurt, I think that's good for you overall in the long run. So this story was a little bit more visceral, a little bit more physical. It was a moment of confusion, chaos and embarrassment. So are you alright with that, Ip or BuD, whatever your name is anyway? So basically it was my last night in Brighton after I did the Brighton Comedy Festival. Numerically a failure with ticket sales and stuff, but spiritually and career wise and content wise, definitely a success. Anyway, I had booked myself into a different hotel for the last night because I was doing a couple of Irish compilation comedy shows, stand-up comedy shows. For anyone new, I am a stand-up comedian. And so I booked into it was a Flex by Sheraton. That was the name of it. It sounds fancy, it wasn't. 50 quid I got about 40 or 50 quid off. So I was happy with that. It was on the seafront in Brighton. Basic room. Now, the first thing I will say is that I got upgraded, but I was upgraded from a single room with a double bed to a double room with two single beds. Is that an upgrade? If you're there for one night? I know if you're there for 2 nights you could switch it up after a night and sleep in the other bed. Maybe that's some kind of an upgrade, but I think I was tricked. So it gets to I got a late checkout. They signed me up to their points system. It was Marriott, I think. Signed me, not the receptionist. That wasn't her name. It was the chain of hotels. I don't know what the receptionist's name was, but could have been Marriott. Marianne, probably. Brazilian, I think. And I got a late checkout, 12 o'clock, so which was nice. I was leaving the next day. I was doing a gig at 12:30 the next day, actually, so in the afternoon, which was an experience in itself. But I get up. I had a few pints on that night with a few other comedians that were there, and I wake up the following morning at 8:30, and I say, "Do you know what? There's a bath in this hotel, in the bathroom, obviously, and I'm gonna relax this morning. I'm gonna leave my phone in the bedroom, and I'm gonna have a bath." There was bath juice, whatever you call it. What do you call the stuff? Shower gel. It makes it bubbly anyway. So I was able to create a nice bubbly bath for myself. No reaction from BuD. So it does feel like I have someone here with me, though. I have to say, it really does. It's maybe he can be the new co-host. Huh? I'd say a lot of Irish women would like him. Just keeps his mouth shut. Don't like me anyway. Alright, BuD. Thumbs up from BuD. Anyway, the bath has been run. It's now 9 a.m. or so. I'm not meeting my other comedian friends till 11. And like I say, I leave the phone out of the way and I say, right, I'm going to lay back in the bath and experiment if I can think of jokes. So I get into the bath and she raises up now. You know when you get into a bath and you fill it to a respectable level and there's an overflow. That's where it was at. It was under the overflow, which it's impossible to have it over the overflow because if it gets to a certain level, it just goes into the drain. So I get in anyway and she raises up a few inches the water and there's a good drainage into the... It's the overflow, what do you call them things? What the plug goes into. A sinkhole, like, facing you, you know, that kind of way. And I hear the water going into it. And I'm like, oh, grand, right, sound. So I'm laying back there. I have conditioner in the hair. A full palm of conditioner in the hair. She's slicked back like this. And it's softening up lovely. So I'll leave that conditioner in now while I'm bathing. And then I'll be fresh as a daisy. So I'm in the bath, no more than 5 minutes, and there's a rap on the door. Doof, doof, doof. I was like, Jesus. Next thing I hear, housekeeping. It's a man's voice. Usually women are housekeeping. I said, this is immediately strange. So, a man's voice, and it's urgent. And I'm like, so I stood up out of the bath, but I didn't get out. So, my legs are foamy, but my top half is kind of alright, and the conditioner's still in the hair. And I say, no, I don't need housekeeping. I said, I'm leaving today. Like, I don't need my room cleaned. Next thing, again, bang, double wrap, a double triple. And I was like, oh no, I said, no, I'm okay. I said, I'm having a bath. And at this point, I'm walking over out of the bathroom, and the entrance to the room is right there. And I'm like BuD here. I'm naked at the time, full of foam and conditioner. In shock, really. A few pints the night before as well. That didn't help. I didn't know what I was at. I was in 6s and 7s. So anyway, he's knocking and he goes, I go, I'm having a bath. And he's like, I know you're having a bath. That's the problem. The bathroom is flooded and it's flooding into the kitchen. The water's pouring into the kitchen. I was like, this isn't flooded. And at this time, I'm getting the towel and I'm wrapping it around myself. Barely fits around me, of course. Wouldn't be the best towels in a 50 quid hotel. And I barely get it around me, and I'm holding that onto me with one hand. Open the door with the other. I said, what? I said, I didn't flood the bathroom. He's like, let me see. And he's there, and then the woman from reception is behind him. And he bursts into the bathroom. I said, look, there's no water on the floor. Oh yes, it's not flooded. I said, I know it's not flooded. I said, I'm trying to have a bath. Oh, sorry about that. The kitchen is flooded. I was like, sorry. No, actually, I'm not sorry. I said, it's not my fault that the kitchen is flooded. Anyway, he goes, okay, apologies for this. And he didn't give me any instructions. Like, he didn't say, oh, you can go in and finish your bath now and relax. And It didn't say I could. Can I run the shower? Can I wash the conditioner out of my hair? Can I get back in? There was no follow up whatsoever, and I'm sitting there in shock, basically, on my bed, thinking, how do I get a few quid out of this, or a free trip, or something? And um, yeah, really tough. Really, I'm just holding BuD's hand here, but no, it was really badly done, and I felt like maybe I was entitled to something. I don't know, what would you do in this situation yourself? I don't know. I still had 3 hours on the lease, or whatever you call it, and couldn't get back in the bath. I didn't want to get back in and relax, and they come bursting in again. I nipped under the shower for a few seconds and just washed myself off, and I was stewing over then what to do next when I went back into the bedroom. How do I put this? How do I get some sort of advantage for myself out of this? And I said, I'll just politely say it to them, and that's what I did. I left at about 10:30, went to reception, and I just said, look, 116. Oh, yeah. I was like, I wonder will she. Oh, yes, I'm really sorry about what happened in the room uh, with the water. I was like, yeah, I didn't flood that bathroom, by the way. And she's like, oh, yes, I know, it was our fault. And that was it. Then I just left. So, believe it or not, there's been no, like, can you please give us a review email since. Um, I didn't know that was a selective thing. Every time I stay somewhere, I get a follow-up message from booking.com saying, what did you think of your stay in this hotel? Didn't get one of them yet. Isn't that curious? Interesting. If I do, I'll be going to town on them. And I will be emailing them as well, because I don't know, maybe no one else uses the bath or something. I don't know what happened. Maybe the waste pipe had. It's none of my business. I was just trying to relax. That's what happened. And to be honest with you, I'd say they're probably more in need of therapy than I am after what they saw. I'm trying to look at it from their perspective when they looked in the door. See me with a towel barely hanging on for their life and suds all over me, conditioner in the hair, slicked back. They probably thought I was bald. Bald fellow, conditioner in the hair. Yeah, they're probably on annual leave now, or trauma leave, or whatever you call it, after what they saw. God blimey. Anyway, that's that story. What do you think of that, BuD? Thank you. Next one is just something that a friend of mine brought up to me recently. Good friend of mine. We're both. He's a year older than me, or two. We're both approaching our 40s, basically, which is horrible to say, actually, when you say it out loud. By Jesus. And this, it's happened to me once, probably about 4 or 5 years ago. Oh, by the way, can I just remind you, please, we just follow on Spotify if you're listening on Spotify or watching on Spotify. Please, that would be great. Really helps the podcast. And rate 5 stars. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe and share this episode with someone you think that might like it, that might get a laugh out of it. Someone that needs a laugh at my expense, of course. Whether you're on Spotify, Apple, whatever, share it around. Getting a lot of plays on the podcast lately, which is great. Thank you very much. So yeah, and I know the last few episodes have been just me, but there's be guests coming soon. Also, please, can you donate in the Buy Me a Coffee link if you have a couple of extra euro, or if you want to just support to buy guests a coffee. I'm trying to upgrade to get another camera as well. Look, I don't mind if you do, I don't mind if you don't. If you feel like doing it, that'd be great. Thanks to everyone who's donated before. I really appreciate it. But anyway, let's get on with this story. So, yes, as I say, we are fast approaching our 40s. We're both single. We're good friends, lifelong friends. And now this happened to him more recently than me. But what I'm talking about is your. And this applies to both men and women. I'm sure women maybe probably do it more to each other But it's when your friend has kind of recently met someone. So say in the last 5 years, and then you meet them. So I'm gonna put myself into this situation, into this hypothetical situation. So I meet a friend of mine and his girlfriend of 3 years, say, in a pub, and then it's me. So it's me and the two of them, and you're sitting there, and then they suggest a match for you. They suggest a partner for you. Oh, especially now in this particular scenario, the woman is from a third world country, and she's basically trying to get you to go out with her friend and, I don't know, look after her for the rest of her life. And the friend of yours is just smugly, sitting there. Oh yeah, I think that'd be lovely. Two of them are trying to match you up with one of her friends, and you're just sitting there going, "Hey, do you think this is my first rodeo? Do you think I've just fell down in the last shower? I know I have a blow up doll, but still." He doesn't have any holes, by the way, in him. If you're wondering that as well, he's dirty Jezebels. Only the one you blow air into. Huh? That's very small. Anyway, look, what I'm saying is, men in their late 30s, early 40s, we don't need your help finding women. We wouldn't be, if we didn't want to be single, we wouldn't be. So don't be trying to set us up with your sympathy, right? Oh, yeah, you found a girl, did you? Or a fella. So what? Doesn't mean you have to help me find one. I don't need your charity, okay? Me or none of me early 40s mates. It's just a bit of a rant maybe, but don't be trying to set me up, especially with any of your friends, because if I was interested, I'd have messaged her already. And for all you know, maybe I did already. But yeah, it's just a complaint from the late 30s, early 40s men, from us, and I'm sure that some women listening to this would be similar. We can do it by ourselves. We're not handicapped. We're not idiots. We're not stupid. So if we want to go out on the pole, if I want to slick the hair back, put on the glad rags, I'll do it, right? I don't need you setting me up. Thanks anyway. And no, I don't want to look after your friend from God knows where, okay? Now don't get me wrong, right? There is a different scenario in this situation that's possible, where the she brings her friend, and then it's you and your friend, his girlfriend, and her or him, whatever. Then it's different. They're in the building. There could be a connection. They've basically brought the horse to the water, and maybe it'll drink. I don't know. But you can't force the horse to drink by trying to make matches with people that. Anyway, what I mean is, if it just turns out that the forays are there and there's a connection, that's grand. That's great. It's not premeditated. It's not your friend going, "Oh, poor Dan. Dan's getting old now, and he's not able to meet anyone. I even grew a mullet, and he's gone bald. Oh, no, I don't need it. Don't need your sympathy. Not that I was going to get it anyway." Also, that's that complaint out of the way. But one other thing that I want to say is, I found that this podcast, I do make it quite personal, and I say a lot of stuff about my life in it. And I found that it makes less people get in touch with me. They just listen to the podcast, and then they know what's going on in my life. So I'm absolutely delighted with that. Let's keep it that way, and just leave me in peace. So now, look, if you want to get in touch, don't be afraid. It's okay, right? Just don't be trying to set me up with any of your third world friends, right? Yeah. Anyway, tell us how you really feel, Dan, huh? I don't mind the third world, by the way. I'm not racist. I'm not racist or anything. Isn't that right, bud? Instagram's going well anyway. I put a reel out last night. I lost a follower. Fantastic. What else is there? DanStevens.comedy there, by the way. If I need a replacement for that follower, so if you could check that out. We will have some human, no offense, we will have some human guests on soon. I just need, I'm going through a mad time at the moment. 10 days in Brighton. I've been home for 2 days, and I'm going to Austria to do gigs tomorrow, which should be interesting. And then I'll have a good run at organising, booking guests, and getting some more varied sort of episodes for you, with all sorts of interesting people. And if you follow, you'll be notified of every new episode. So yeah, go ahead and do that. Do me a favour, that would be great. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. If you're a newish kind of listener and you're going back through the back catalogue, I hope you're enjoying that. Or whoever you are, I do appreciate you clicking on and giving your time to me, to listen to me. If you liked BuD, leave a comment. What do you think of him? Very obedient. Irish woman's dream. Isn't he? Says nothing. Doesn't even drink. Am I being racist against Irish women now? I'm not racist. Anyway, I'll leave it there. It's been lovely. I hope you enjoyed the song on the last episode as well. I'm writing another one about the 76 steps I had to walk up to get to the original hotel room in Brighton. A dump of a place that hotel was. If you're ever staying in Brighton, be careful, by the way. Absolute scam artists everywhere telling you it's a hotel, and then you go up and it's just a kip that used to be a townhouse is what you're getting, not a hotel. So yeah, there'll be a song coming out about that. I enjoyed singing a song at the end of the last episode. Give us your feedback on that as well. I'd appreciate it. That is a song, by the way, if you didn't know the context, about me sleeping in my car in Edinburgh for 3 weeks last year. I'll be doing it again this year probably. And that's it from me. This is the Dan Stevens Show. Thank you for listening or watching. See you again on the next one. Say goodbye, BuD. All the best. If you're listening or not watching, he's just a blow up doll with like orange hair on his chest, and looks like Ed Sheeran a bit. Ed Sheeran with a bit more personality, I would say. Alright. Good lad. Alright. See you now. Catch you on the next one. Goodbye.